For today's lesson is example 5. They're going to give us a factor, x minus 2. And they're going to ask if this is one of the factors of x squared plus 2x minus 4. Is it a factor of x squared plus 2x minus 4? I mean, does it divide evenly into that? Well, we could factor x squared plus 2x minus 4 to see if that is one of the parentheses. Could be one thing. There is a different way of doing that, and that's what I'm going to show you, which could be slower or could be faster than factoring. So I'm giving you other options. So the way that they're suggesting, called the factor theorem, is what you're going to do is you're going to take that factor, x minus 2, and you're going to set it equal to 0. And we're going to solve for x. We're going to get x is 2. That's going to be our first step. And to see if this is a factor, we're going to take that 2, and we're going to go f of 2 equals 2 squared plus 2 times 2 minus 4. And we're going to see if f of 2 is equal to 0. If it equals 0, then that tells me it is a factor. So we plug in 2, we do 2 squared, that's 4, plus 2 times 2 is 4, minus 4, and we get 4. Does that equal 0? No. So what can I say? Not a factor. Say it's not a factor. So in order to be a factor, it will equal 0. So next example, determine whether x plus 5 is a factor of g of x. So I'm going to first take x plus 5, and I'm going to set it equal to 0. And I'm going to solve that for x. X equals negative 5. And we're going to do g of negative 5. On your paper, I would expect to see exactly what I wrote on the board. Now, how you found the answer, whether it be by hand or using your calculator, is fine. Find it. I'm going to call on somebody to give me the answer. So if you use your calculator, you still need to show me the step where you plugged it in, so I can see what you were doing. You're not doing it. You're probably the one that I call on. I don't think you plugged in with. I don't think you plugged in the equation correctly. You didn't write it down correctly. Because this is not right. Save those batteries. Yeah, I just said let it die. You need to plug it in? Yeah. All right, Tim, what'd you get? 0. So you plug it in. You should get g of negative 5 is equal to 0. And the question is it a factor? Yes, because when we plug it in, it equals 0. That means it's an x-intercept. where the function is equal to 0. That's where the function equals 0 with the next intercept. All right, so yes, x plus 5 is a factor of g of x. Okay, you try one on your own. So what I would expect to see on your paper would be you plugging it in, and then what does F4 equal? What'd you get? Anybody? Lots of you. 40. That's what you should have gotten. And then you say, oops, that's not equal to 0, so x minus 4 is not a factor. Oh, that's all that. Okay, so that's what I would expect to see in your book. All right, example 6 says show that x plus 3 is a factor and factor it completely. So we're going to do this a different way. We're going to show that x plus 3 is. So they've already told you x plus 3, if you plug in that negative 3, it will equal 0. They've already told you x plus 3 is a factor. So what we have to do is we have to find the rest of the factors. To find the rest of the factors, I have to divide out the x plus 3 to find out what's left. To divide out the x plus 3. We've done this before. We've used division before. Do you remember the two methods for division? Long division and the other one. I can't remember. Synthetic division is the other one. Synthetic division only works. Synthetic division only works if x is just x, no other numbers with it, and it's to the first power. So we have no coefficient other than 1, and it's to the first power. We can use synthetic division. So I'm going to use synthetic division. So we say x plus 3 equals 0. We get x equals negative 3. That's what goes in the box. That's like the same steps we just did for those other questions. Then we have to write the coefficient of what we're trying to divide it into. So my first coefficient would be 1. What's my second coefficient? 3. Then what? 0. Then what? Negative 1. Then negative 3. Then we skip some space and we draw that line. I totally said that with my Italian accent. You skip some space. I'm allowed to say that because I'm Italian. Bring it down. Then what do we do? Multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. If you've done it correctly, you should have 0 as the remainder because this is a factor. So it goes in evenly, no remainder. If you get some other remainder, then you're wrong. Yeah. Because it says it is a factor, so it should work. So now what we're going to do is we're going to factor this completely. We know one of the factors, they've given us x plus 3. So I have f of x equals parenthesis x plus 3. Then, remember when we do synthetic division? This answer goes down 1 degree from the original. So you look at the degree of the original, x to the 4th. So this one goes down to x to the third. Then there'd be 0x squared, there'd be 0x, and then minus 1. So my second factor looks like 1x to the third minus 1. I'm not going to write all those zeros. But it says factor it completely. It says factor it completely. So what I've done, but with polynomials, what I've done, I'll show you just like a way easier thing. Way easier thing to think about what I just did. If I gave you the number 24 and I said factor that and one of the factors is 2, you would say, well, the other factor is what? Because you divided that and you found the other factor. But is that factored completely? No, you would take that 12 and go further. And that's what we're doing here. X plus 3 is one of the factors. We still need to take x cubed minus 1. We need to factor this further. So we go back to our factoring steps. Is there a greatest common factor? No. It's 2 terms. What are our options for 2-term factoring? Difference of squares or sum or difference of cubes? Is this one of them? Okay. So we have to use the cube formula. I'll write down the cube formula. It's like a cubed plus b cubed is equal to a plus b, a squared minus ab plus b squared. So formula. So when we factor x cubed minus 1, the first parenthesis, that a plus b parenthesis is going to be x plus negative 1 or minus 1. My second parenthesis, I'm going to square the first thing, so I'm going to square x. My last number is squaring the negative 1, which is 1. And then in the middle, I'll do negative, and I'll multiply x times negative 1. So that becomes positive 1x. I went through that fast, but we just did an assignment over it. Listen. And if you need more help, of course, I'm available in XH. You can come to me tomorrow. What did I tell you about factoring cubes, about this part of the factoring? It's done. So I know that I can't factor that any further. So this is the full answer that you're supposed to find. Let's try another. Show that x minus 6 is a factor of f of x equals x cubed minus 5x squared minus 6x. So x minus 6 equals 0. X equals 6. Put that in the box. And what are my coefficients? 1. Then what? Negative 5. Then negative 6. Then 0. Is it okay if I just don't do that 0? It's not okay. And then that last number is the remainder, and that last number better be 0. So now we're going to factor it. Our first factor they gave us. So our first factor, f of x equals x minus 6. That one they gave to us. The second one comes from my synthetic division. Remember the first number goes down a degree, so it was x cubed. This is now x squared. That will be x. And I don't need to put the 0. Is the second parenthesis factored all the way? What's our first step of factoring all the way? Is there a GCF in x squared plus f? X is the GCF. We have to factor that out. When I factor it out, though, I'm going to put it in front of the whole thing. I'm not going to put it in the middle of the two parentheses. I'm going to write it like x, then my x minus 6, and then my x plus 1, which is left over. We don't ever write it in between two sandwich buns. I just made that up in my head. We put the x in front. I don't know. They don't go in between the factors that goes in front. Okay, so that would be factored all the way. So what did I say we were doing with these factors eventually? We're going to be finding x-intercepts, we're going to be graphing. Okay, so the last example in class that we're doing
is we are given graphs and we're given equations. We're going to play matching game and we're not using our calculator. So let's go to the equation part. And something that you should know, and it says in the directions, something you should know is end behavior. What does it mean if my end behavior looks like this? Right, the degree would be even and then also positive. And if you look at every single one of those, I think every single one is positive. So in today, it's going to be even. And then what if it's like this? The degree would be odd. So you can look at all those and already know kind of which ones they aren't. And then we have to use x-intercepts to find the rest, and you also have to factor all of these. So let's just start by factoring. So the first one, how would I factor a trinomial? What's my first step? First step, factoring always. Is there a GCF? And then how do I factor trinomials? Guess and check. Boom, boom. We have x and x. Looks like they're both plus. 4. Have to add to give me 5. 4 and 1. Once I have it factored and this is factored all the way, how do I find the x-intercept? Like set each factor equal to 0. So we're going to have x plus 4 equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0. X is negative 4, x is negative 1. So there's the x-intercepts. So what it's asking you to do is find the factored form and then match it using end behavior and x-intercepts. So look at your graphs. Which graphs, this one's even, which graphs have even end behavior and crosses at negative 4 and negative 1? Just see. So that's what that one matches to. Let's look at B. We're going to factor it. What's our first step of factoring? Is there a GCF? Okay, then what do I do with 4 terms? Group up. So I'm going to group. Plus sign in between. I'm going to take out x squared. Take out negative 1. X squared times x minus 2 minus 1 times x minus 2. Put them together. I get x minus 2 times x squared minus 1. Am I going too fast? Well, once you get good at factoring, you can go that fast too. Is that factored all the way? Not. X minus 2 is. But what happens to x squared minus 1? It's 2 terms, so it's either squares or cubes. No, it's not cubes. Different to squares, so that's the one where you do like x plus 1 and x minus 1. So that's our factored answer. And we have to find the x-intercepts. So what's my first x-intercept going to be? 2, then negative 1, then positive 1. So I've got x-intercepts at plus and minus 1 and at 2. This one is odd. So you look at your odd graphs. Which one has x-intercepts at plus and minus 1 and 2? Which one? F. See? Plus and minus 1 and at 2. You see the x-intercepts there? Yay or nay? I'm going to start talking for a few moments. You try some factoring. You guys practice an entire assignment all by yourself on it, I'm sure. I can tell with all that work you showed. Unless you're that good, you just do it all in your head. Let's
That's our first type of factoring. Oh wait.
Yeah. So I'm going to do these super teacher fast up here. That way you can check your answers when you get through. Not trying to intimidate or anything, just trying to get them done. Alright, I squeezed it up there. The only thing I didn't do is put the matching. I want to make sure you guys saw the factoring and you saw what the x-intercepts would be. Once you have these, that's it for the lesson today. Once you have these, the assignment is on big ideas. I will put up the book pages just in case you need to do it on the book and then come in at XH to plug it in the computer. I will have the computers in here for XH tomorrow. That's pretty much what we're doing is using some synthetic division, plugging in some numbers, and then matching some graphs. That's all you're doing for your assignment. 12 questions. Should be. And then when we start block day, we'll actually be starting to find x-intercepts all the way. We might put some quadratic formulas in there. I'm going to stop the video and put up the assignment. It's just going to go on the video, but I'll go back to this page.